jump right in. I'm going to talk a little bit about our meat at TU. And so when we talk about meat at Tuskegee University, we talk about meat science education and training. And so I'm really here to kind of talk about the debut of our program, relatively new in terms of what we're doing here at Tuskegee. And so just quickly, my story, I started and got my bachelor's and master's at Tuskegee, went up the street to Auburn and did a PhD, and then kind of got into meat science there, muscle biology, and then went to Kansas State and done a postdoc there. For the last 10 years or so, I was at Mississippi State, but now I have come full circle and now am back at Tuskegee University as the department head there. And so kind of why did I come back to Tuskegee? What was it that drew me back? Again, we are amongst the nation's top 3 HBCUs, and I don't know who the other 2 are because we're number 1. So I don't know, again, how that goes. But anyway, and if you look at the department that I lead, in terms of all of the things that we lead in, out of this whole list of 10, we represent about 7 of those leading indicators. And so we have a rich legacy of outreach in terms of our geographic and cultural proximity to the people who we serve. We have experiential credibility that has been built on meeting the producers where they are and also lifting the veil and providing knowledge to our base. And so, again, these are just some of the various programs that we offer on any given day at Tuskegee University. And so there's never a shortage of some type of offering related to agriculture and empowering producers and processors to make the most out of their products. But I'm here specifically to talk about, again, our meat science education and training program, which is a deliberately designed farm-to-fork research, teaching, processing, and outreach system. And so why meat science and why is that important? So if we look at it overall, and I know these numbers are a little bit small, but if we look at the direct contributions to the national economy, we're talking about $57 billion in added value. We're talking about $40 billion in labor income, $311 billion in total sales and output. And then again, if you think about local, state, and federal taxes, another 10 or 12 billion dollars. And so specifically as it relates to Tuskegee or relates to Alabama, meat processing is part of our lifeline. So you'll see that in terms of the national employment or average employment per 1,000 individuals, that's about 0.98 or 0.89, butchers and meat cutters 0.93. But you can see in terms of the meat and poultry processing industry, and in the national industry, it's about 0.9 per 1,000 jobs. In Alabama, it's about 5.8. So we're talking about a 5-fold increase in terms of how impactful this industry is. And so these are all some of the small processors that we have in our state. And so if we look at, again, and we had our NIFA secretary here and our director here, and he was talking about, Director Hambian was talking about our new USDA priorities and directives. And one of the things that we have done, and we recognize that we didn't have to change much because we've been doing these things forever anyway. And so we are in the process of opening our USDA and custom processing facility. We're doing cutting edge research. We're working on, we continuously are developing a workforce. We have trainings for students, HACCP certifications, and so it just goes on. And then also we have various research projects, including farm to freezer projects, where we're doing our meat summit this month coming up. My graduate students are here, and they're working on characterizing the myology or muscle profile of goats. We're looking at eco-resilient production and processing of small ruminants using mobile processing systems. So again, we have a whole lot going on at Tuskegee that we're proud of. Our meat processing facility, again, I've shown this slide at various occasions, and I always get to show this coming soon, and I always have this architect's rendition drawing of the facility, but it actually is coming to fruition. It actually is coming to reality. And so I actually have some pictures. Here's an aerial view. Total, it's going to be the processing facility itself is going to be about 12,000 square feet. But when you couple that to our post-harvest facility, we're looking at about 24,000 square feet. And so it's going to be one of the most impressive meat processing facilities on a college campus once it's all said and done. And so we expect that to be done this summer. They told me April, but April is tomorrow, so I know that's not going to happen. So, or 2 days from now. So we are approaching completion in our facility. But in the meantime, again, as Tuskegee is known for meeting the producers where they are, and bringing education. So if you look at the the Jessup wagon. That's one of the, this is a later rendition, but originally it was a horse-drawn carriage, essentially, that was the Booker T. Washington Agricultural School on Wheels, where essentially we basically take all the capabilities from campus and all of our expertise, and we can actually pull up to your farm or to your facility and actually offer that education. And in this case, we're able to offer a service. And so we actually have a mobile processing unit, and we call it our Meat Mobile, our Meat Science Education and Training Mobile. And again, it is equipped to pull up to your farm, harvest, train. We can pull up to schools and do workforce development. And so it is, again, a state-of-the-art facility, adds up some state-of-the-art capabilities to us. And so, again, this is just showing you the original kind of rendition of the Jessup wagon, and then this is our modern-day Jessup wagon. And we're very proud of our ability to, again, particularly to harvest small ruminants and empower producers and processors so that they can capture a little bit more of that $311 billion as opposed to just selling it off to the next person and to the middleman who then captures some of that value. So we want to make sure that we are participating and that we get our share of that that pie, so to speak. And so again, what can we do? This just shows just one demonstration of the Meat Mobile, and we went from harvesting some goats, and then right then on site we had some a leatherman, an individual who has skilled in tanning and processing hides. And so we took that hide straight off of this goat here, and then he went to proceed and started teaching the producers how they can add and retain a little bit more value, because if you take one of those goat hides and it's appropriately tanned, you can get about $100, $125 off of that before you ever sell a piece of meat, right? And so if you think about that, we're talking about really adding value and empowering producers to do so. So when we talk about meeting people where they are, we literally do so. And I promise you, I did not know my friends from the Virgin Islands were going to be in the crowd, but this is actually, again, I'll meet you on the islands if I have to, right? It doesn't matter. And so we actually went to the St. Croix earlier in the fall. And so we were there harvesting one of their beautiful St. Croix sheep. And so we can do this whether I'm out under a shed, if I'm in my Meat Mobile, or if I'm in our 18,000 square foot facility. So we, again, are just really excited about our ability to meet producers and processors wherever they might be. And so there we are showing some lung blow up demonstrations and all kind of stuff. So we have fun when we're doing this. And so again, the Meat Mobile and its capacity, we can actually process about 30 to 50 goats per day. Same thing with sheep. We can do about 30 hogs per day. We don't have a scalder in there, so we have to skin them. Beef, on an ambitious day, if I get up early, we can do 8 to 10, but usually we can probably do about 6 beef on any given day. And then I always say with rabbits, you can just kill them till you get tired. So we can kill 300 or more rabbits on any given day, and we keep on moving. In terms of what the Meat Mobile utilizes in terms of utility, it uses about 2 gallons of water per goat. And so when we originally developed this idea, we're thinking about it in terms of an eco-resilient, a sustainable way to process and to preserve resources. It takes about half a gallon of gasoline per hour to get it cool. And then once it's cool, it takes much less fuel. It also has shore power capability where we can just plug it up to a power pole if that is available. And it does also minimize wastewater per carcass as well. And we can even reclaim some of that water. We're working on some technology to do that. Currently, we try to drive in this red circle here only because when we bought our truck, instead of spending $5,000 more, we bought a gas guzzler instead of buying a diesel. And so it takes me it gets about 6 gallons or 6 miles per gallon. And so we got a diesel truck with 550 coming. And then that'll allow me to pull it all over. But I've taken as far as to Mississippi and other places as well. And so our real goal is to build a cooperative of mobile docking stations throughout the Southeast and amongst the 1890s. And so when I talk about meet the 1890s, we want to be able to do this and have this network where we can hand off producers, where we can hand off product amongst each other and make sure that our producers are well served. So we again, harvest those. And so if we look at our geography and we look at all of our 1862 universities, all of the ones there, these are little bitty stakes. You can't see them, but they're little bitty stakes. And basically they show you where our 1862 counterparts have meat processing facilities or capabilities. And you can see they have them all across the country, right? And there's a lot of them. And again, I think they know the value of having a meat processing facility because it allows you, I like to tell people in animal science, some people breed them and feed them, some people graze them and raise them, and somebody's got to kill them and grill them. And that's my job, right? And so we understand that you have to come full circle, and eventually you got to make some meat out of those animals, right? So we want to go from converting meat goats into goat meat, right? If that makes sense. And so our 1862s understand the value of that. And so if you think about, again, what the value of geography, you see in Alabama alone, it's a $744 million industry, right? And so it makes a lot of money. So if we look at our 1890s and where we're located, right, you'll see about 8 out of our 1890s have some capability when it comes to meat and poultry processing. And so we are trying to expand that and make sure. So we want to leverage the 1890 network, including our strengths at each institution, develop and improve resources where they're needed, and developing and leveraging complementary programs. So whether that's HACCP planning and certification, grant writing to help our producers and processors, feasibility planning if they're interested in developing processing plants, halal, indigenous, and other exempt processing. These are multi-million-dollar industries as well, and they serve a very niche market. As well as workforce development. So we do have an apprenticeship program that's certified and again recognized by the American Meat Science Association as well. So students and producers, processors, anybody can come and essentially learn how to become a meat processor. We work with supply chain development. My students, again, I didn't want to steal their thunder, but we talk about meet the technology. And so my student Maxwell and Micaiah, they're actually using some AI and some machine learning, working with Dr. Chin, and we're going to be trying to evaluate goat carcasses in our mobile unit just using your smartphone, right? Because the USDA has lost a lot of graders. And so again, in order to get that maximum value, you want to be able to differentiate your product. And as a result, we want to do it in a way that makes sense. Meet the muscles, right? And so Maxwell's also got the tedious job of dissecting every single muscle off of the goat carcass. And so the beef people did it, the pork people did it. And so I said, okay, we're going to write a grant. And we got funded by Southern Share to do it. And we're going to take every muscle off the goat carcass. And Maxwell has to quantify, characterize each muscle, the pH, the color, the flavor, the juiciness, the tenderness, all of those things so that we can add value as opposed to people coming to your farm and just saying, hey, give me a chunk of meat. Now we can differentiate those cuts like they did the flat iron steak, for example, which used to be part of the chuck or the arm roast. So we used to have it and sell it for $3 or $4 a pound. Now we pull the flat iron out because it's the second most tender muscle on the beef carcass, and we sell them for $11.99 a pound. So we're hoping to find or identify some muscles and be able to characterize and do that appropriately. And so when we talk about meet the team, again, these are all of my students who are involved. And so some of them are undergrads, some of them are graduate students. I have students that are involved in public policy and regulatory affairs because, again, you can't just kill them and grill them. You actually have to follow the law when you do that. And so she keeps us in line when it comes to that. And then we have students doing, again, a lot of other great things. So finally, I would just say meet us at Tuskegee. We will have our Black Belt Meat Summit coming up in a couple of weeks. And we're excited to, again, debut this program. And we'll have a lot more data in 2 years when we convene again at ARD. But really, this was to debut our program and to really give you an idea. And also, I'm always looking for graduate students as well. So I wanted to take the opportunity to at least extend that invitation, as well as collaborations as well. So now that we have the capability to complete that circle, we certainly invite any collaborations in which you might need some meat processing capabilities and collaboration. So with that, I know I'm out of time, and I appreciate you all's attention. Thank you.
Meat facility.
Yes, sir.
Is that going to open ground this April? So likely finish next 6-10 months. I wondered, you slaughtering several species. Your slaughter facility is using different section, or every species using same section for slaughter?
We do everything in a common harvest section. We do isolate product as needed, for food safety reasons and things like that. But when it comes to harvest, we basically we start the kill floor brand new between species. So we wouldn't kill like a goat and then a beef animal. We would do all the goats and then do the beef and then do pork. Always comes last in our system. So if we're killing any hogs that day, that's how that would work. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to find out from you, the consumption of unmeat goat, goat meat is not really common in US compared to, of course, the other meat, beef. So how do you get your clientele? How do you know, how many people comes to you to use your processing plant? Who do they sell that to?
Yeah. So the question was regarding kind of the amount of goat meat and the supply of goat meat. One things that we again are doing, and there was a talk yesterday. I believe in getting the way to get more meat, goat meat, on the table of the consumers. You got to get it in their mouth. So we developed, for example, a goat sausage product, and some of those things have helped to make them more common and more mainstream. So a lot of people think when you're eating goat, you got to make curry goat or some fancy dish out of it. And we just made some sausages out of it. And again, even a lot of the producers themselves have never eaten goat meat. They just say, hey, I raise them. Some people come to my farm, I sell them the goat, they kill it on my farm and they take it. I don't know what they do with it. And so now we get them to consume some of that. And they're like, hey, I need to, save some of these goats back and maybe I can take this to my farmer's market. And so I think there's a lot of factors that have inhibited the wide mainstream adoption of goat meat. But as we can do more of these things and meeting people where they are, meet them on the farm, I think we can, kind of use that to educate and also to advertise. And I think it will help to produce more. So.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll be outside. I can talk to you. Yeah, I know we're out of time. Sorry.
Yeah, we met in Manners, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm.